All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Curry, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. When you were a teenager or a kid, did you have hobbies? Did you have things that you like to do, apart from school, obviously? Music, dancing, sport, hanging out with friends, the things that kids do, the things that teenagers do. Did you do those things, or even some of them? Today I want to talk about the importance of having an outlet, having something that you do apart from your usual 9 to 5 daily grind job, and the importance of it. And it's really interesting. You can probably relate to this, but most of us, as we get up, we grow up, we mature, we get into jobs and work and business and life and family, especially kids. When these things happen, they take priority over all these other things. And they take priority in that we end up spending more time with family, more time at work, because we have to become adults, obviously, eventually. But instead of just doing a little bit of the other stuff, sometimes we end up doing none of it. I've noticed it. Now, when I talk to my clients, when they first become clients, one of the questions we ask is, what are your daily hobbies? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? And it's really interesting when I'm talking to a couple, but especially when I'm talking to parents, I hear regularly that they sort of look at each other, they look at me, they think, they then say, I don't know. And they think, well, I used to do this, and this, but now it's just kids. Now it's just work. And they have this moment, and I have this moment where I look at them and think, okay, well, if I wasn't asking this question, how long would it take for them to actually ask themselves the same question? Do you have hobbies? Do you have things that you like to do at the moment? Or are they things that you probably used to enjoy before you got married or had a mortgage or had kids or anything like that before? Now, as a financial planner, yes, my job is to help people with their money, but I'm bringing this up for a couple of very, very important reasons. First of all, having an outlet, having something that you do, could even be a side hustle, something you do on weekends if you play music, or if it's gardening in your backyard, or if it's stamp collecting or bowls or bowling or riding your bike or going for a run or going for a walk. But having something like that is so important, first of all, let's start with the obvious things, from a mental health perspective. When you do these things, mentally, you naturally will feel better. You'll feel relaxed. You'll get your mind off the things that you usually think about, which is usually probably work, bills, family, life, kids, school, whatever, etc., etc. You'll get those things off your mind, and you'll just have the ability to just zone out and just take these things off your mind and just relax. Mentally, it makes such a big difference. And you'll find once you have an outlet, you will actually need that outlet. Without it, you won't be able to function, because your body and you will actually realize how important and how vital it is to you being able to function. Just like a car, just like an engine needs oil for the gears to work, this will become your oil or your service or your refresher, or your car gets serviced regularly. This could be your weekly service or your daily service or something, just to keep you going. Because the issue is, usually when we don't do these things, we end up sometimes moving towards other things. So it could be food, it could be drinking, it could be smoking, it could be just binging on, social media reels, or Netflix, online. I don't want to say, I want to single out Netflix here, but, TV shows or a TV series. And we end up finding something else to be our outlet, which is fine if you enjoy all those things, but they're not usually as healthy for you as doing the things that I've just mentioned, like sports, socializing, being outdoors, being around trees. Now that I've talked about the obvious benefit, which is the mental health side of things, which is probably the number one benefit, we then move on to the financial benefit. And these all relate to mental health, but I can tell you now, as a financial advisor, when I'm talking to my clients, if they have an outlet, if they're more relaxed in general, they're more likely to function better as a human being, and they're more likely to make better decisions, smarter decisions. They're more likely to invest, because they're more likely to put themselves out there. They're willing to take on that extra little bit of risk or stress, that's involved in doing something new or something different. compared to somebody that has their plate full, can't handle any more stress, can't deal with it right now, we'll look at it later. And that later just usually never comes. So when you're feeling better, you're more likely to invest, you're more likely to do things with your money, to make smarter decisions, and you're more likely to really enjoy work. But here's the other thing. Here's the thing that a lot of people do not realize. And I see this as an advisor. My clients that have goals that they're working towards, which have nothing to do with money, are more likely to be motivated to make more money or to invest. Because money is money, really. Like, you can have $1 million, you can have $10 million sitting in your bank account. But if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't have a purpose for that, then it really honestly means just as much as if you had $30 million sitting in the bank account. It means nothing. So my point is, if you have something that you're working towards, you're more likely to work harder, potentially, or you're more likely to want to save harder or invest harder. And as an example, it could be the goal to one day open up a business, or to start a charity, or to be around your grandkids a lot more, or around your children, or around your husband or your wife. A goal like that, or to do more gardening, or a goal to golf every Friday and only work 4 days a week. Having an intangible goal helps you build up the tangible side of things when it comes to your life financially, because it's different. It hits different. It's a different level of emotion. It's a different thing that you're striving towards compared to just paying the bills and building up savings and putting some money into shares. And yeah, that's all exciting. Don't get me wrong. Well, exciting for some of us. But there's nothing like having an intangible goal like that you're working towards. Now, here's the thing, and the plot thickens. I see this regularly. When I'm talking to a client or somebody that's contemplating, or we're discussing retirement, if they don't have goals or social circles or friends or that community connection or something that they like to do, or hobbies or sports or anything like that, they're actually scared to retire, that they're scared to stop working because they don't know what else they'll do with their time. And I hear it regularly, people saying, look, I could stop working tomorrow, but I don't know what I'll do with my time. Or I could stop working in 10 years. Yes, that would be great, but what would I then do? I'd be bored. Now, it's always important to be doing something, but when you've got a hobby, you start looking forward to retiring. You start looking forward to maybe working 3 days a week. You start looking forward to leaving your job and setting up a business. You start looking forward to pursuing other types of career goals and aspirations, or things that will allow you to do these things. And it's motivating, because it motivates you to work towards retirement, or to work towards that end goal, whereas if you don't know what that goal is, or if that goal isn't too exciting, then it really means nothing. You might as well have no goal at all, because you're most likely you're not going to be motivated to work towards it. So my point here is, having an outlet helps you mentally now, helps you mentally in the future, and it'll indirectly help you financially, and it will indirectly help you on so many different levels. And it's not, I can't stress this point enough, and I can't stress parents out there listening to this. What are your hobbies? What do you do? What do you do for yourself? Yes, I know you look after your children, and that's our number one duty as parents. But at the same time, we need to look after ourselves mentally, physically, so that we can look after our children in the future and continue to look after them to the best of our ability. So I hope you learned something from this. I encourage you to please pass this on to somebody that needs to hear this message. Get them to listen to it. Pass it on. And just think of this point. Think of finding your outlet so that you can feel better, do better, and be better. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.